Smart 24, driving business.
Hello and welcome. I'm Ronnah Nahabwe. Together with Winnie, we use the Nakawuki and the sign language interpretation. This is Business Today, and before we kickstart our bulletin, here's a quick look at our top stories. In Business Today, the Ministry of Trade develops an online trade information portal that will give exporters access to trade information. The CCF fails to give accountability for the money collected in outdoor adverts. And Uganda's insurance penetration grows to 0.876% in 2022. You're welcome once again to Business Today, and to begin with, let's look at the Trade Information Access. The Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives has developed an online trade information portal that will give exporters access to trade information and regulations for the goods that are traded both within and outside Uganda. It should be known that the lack of information causes exporters items to be rejected on the international market, costing Uganda about $200 million in lost revenue per year. Pedson Mumbele reports.
Surely information is power. Once you have information, then you are good to go. You will minimize the risks.
Concerning trade competitiveness, Uganda has experienced scenarios where some food products have been rejected from accessing some foreign markets due to safety and quality-related issues, hence compromising credibility. This was attributed to lack of credible information concerning when, what and where to export to.
What are the requirements in DRC, in Kenya, if you want to export products there? So the more information you get, you save problems. We've had exporters facing challenges when their products are rejected because they did not follow the procedures. They don't know where they bought the goods from. Markets in the world want traceability. They want to know that this pumpkin I'm eating was produced in Gayaza, in Zimbabwe. So knowing that the business you are going into is perishable, it requires a lot of skills. You need cold chain. You need to know the process you go through, what are the institutions that will help you.
In light of the above, the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives has developed an online trade information portal that will give exporters access to trade information and regulations for the most goods that are traded both within and outside the country. According to Amumpaire Mary, the senior ICT officer and the trade portal manager from the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, this will reduce time wastages and cost of exporting, especially fresh fruits and vegetables.
Information is power. Yeah, information is power, and we lose a lot of money and a lot of time because we don't know. The information portal provides a free tool where you can find all the information. So even if you just are thinking, maybe I want to export fish, or maybe I want to export fruits and vegetables, which were the subject of our meeting today, go to the portal, get information, arm yourself with what you require, and then be able to start. Yeah, it is easier to start from a point of knowledge than to learn on job. Sometimes experience can be an expensive teacher. Yeah, so we are trying to make sure that we prepare our exporters before they get on the table to actually know what they require, what they need to look for, what time frames they need to plan for, how they need to package their products.
According to the records from the Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Trade, Uganda loses about $200 million per year because of these interceptions. Information asymmetry, making the exporters not to comply properly, and then their goods are intercepted. But also remember, almost 40% of the fresh fruits and vegetables produced are spoiled, post-harvest loss. And this is also partly because of information asymmetry.
The implication of food export bans and the failure to access foreign lucrative markets translates to low profitability of agriculture and loss of foreign exchange earnings, which constrains poverty eradication and economic growth. John Bosco, the Trade Information Executive from Uganda Export Promotion Board, revealed that over the last 2 to 3 years, they have recorded cases of non-payment and non-delivery to a tune of R1 billion, all due to lack of demand and supply information.
Over the last 2 or 3 years, we've been registering cases of non-payment and non-delivery amounting to close to R1 billion. Okay, that is non-payment and non-delivery if you value the consignments. So that's a figure that can give you some idea of what the lack of proper information may cost us in business.
Cost is because of lack of information. Because when you know where to go and where to do it and how long it takes, then you prepare yourself. Yeah. Because, for example, for fruits and vegetables, we do not charge any tax when we are exporting. Yeah. So the costs are in the preparation for the market of where you actually are going. And there are facilities that have been put at the airport to assist the fruits and vegetables exporters. So for me, I think the biggest problem is information and where to get the right information.
A study conducted by FAO and WFP in 2019 found out that farmers had no awareness of or regards for standards as set by UNBS. Another notable finding is that some of the farmers are aware but act dishonestly by adulterating their produce to obtain more profits, and the existing laws do not provide any deterrent penalties for such behaviors. Pedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Now, officials from Kampala Capital City Authority have failed to give accountability on the money collected from outdoor adverts since the year of 2020. These were before the committee of the COSASE and have been tasked to draw a legal framework for all the outdoor adverts from the city.
In the year 2020, High Court ordered Kampala Capital City Authority to refund all fees charged from outdoor advertising companies since 2011 after declaring it illegal. During their last engagement with the Public Accounts Committee, it was discovered that KCCA was ordered by the court to refund over 13.7 billion shillings that it had collected from the advertising companies. According to Honorable Senyonyi, as a committee, they have discovered that some officials from the authority are conniving with the advertising companies and are getting money which is not declared to the authority, costing the country a lot of revenue.
A long time KCCA was collecting revenue from these outdoor advertisers, and they went to court saying you have been collecting this money illegally. Court says refund the money, 13.7 billion. Eventually they got to agree on about 8 billion shillings. But then what court told KCCA to do, they have not done. Have in place an ordinance so that you get to collect this money legally. Up to date, that has not happened. And then we hear behind the scenes there are some people who are collecting money from these outdoor advertisers, which money is not remitted to KCCA.
The committee has given KCCA the duty of creating a law that would control outdoor advertising, because at the moment the nation is not benefiting from the numerous advertisements that are plastered all over Kampala streets.
Entity is being denied resources that would be used to fix many different things, fix potholes and so on and so forth, and now that money is not available to the entity And so we've given timelines on when that ordinance should be in place, as we also carry out investigations regarding these advertisers and so.
They cannot have an order because they don't have the master plan of what they are doing. They must have a master plan showing that on Kampala Road, don't put a signpost. On Sapporo Kagwa Road, you can put a signpost. On this roundabout, don't put a billboard. But you are walking, there are TV screens all over town, all over roundabout, there is no order. When there are campaigns or these billboards, posters are all over, everywhere, including wars and whatever.
In a similar vein, the committee learned that 3.78 billion shillings were lost in consent judgments after some individuals sued the authority for refusing to hire them, despite having received offer letters because some top management officials had hired their relatives instead of them.
3.78 billion shillings that had to be paid to people who had applied to join KCCA. They were hired, but then KCCA did not get them to start their work, and so they were not given appointment letters to start, pretty much. Actually, they got appointment letters, but then they were not allowed to start because apparently there was no budget, there was no money to cause them to start. And so these people go to court, and then eventually the consent judgment gets to be consent, meaning they agreed out of court. The entity agreed together with these people that took them to court, let's settle out of court. But in settling out of court, they have been paid arrears for so many months, which months they did not work for.
Kusas had their last engagement with the team from KCCA and only await their report, which they will read to the House when Parliament gets back from the recess. Samlanifa, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Let's now look at the insurance performance. The Insurance Regulatory Authority has released last year's industry performance report. From the revelations, 1.4 trillion shillings has been recorded in insurance policy purchases, with 2.4 million people procuring policies. 618.7 billion shillings was paid out in claims as general insurance still leads. In this year's outlook, growth is expected for services sector to be supported as the sector growth is specialized. Products move to attract more micro insurance. Uganda's insurance market witnessed robust growth in 2022. Non-life insurance generated 818.7 billion Ugandan shillings in premiums, marking a 15.8% increase from the previous year. Although slightly lower, non-life insurance still accounted for a significant 57.7% of the market share. In the life insurance sector, premiums grew by 22.3%, reaching 485.8 billion Ugandan shillings and capturing a market share of 34.1%. These positive trends reflect a thriving insurance market in Uganda. Ibrahim Kadunabi Rubega, the CEO of the Insurance Regulatory Authority, aims to enhance the long-term significance of life insurance for the development of the industry.
When non-life contributes more, it means there is much we need to do to see that life contributes much more than the non-life. And the reasons are clear. Non-life is normally said to be general business or short-term business. So even the premiums which are collected, the investments which are made are not that they are for a long term. And in many instances, many countries you've seen growth, or many of the buildings which are coming up in developing economies or developed economies are buildings owned by life companies. So we are working to see that life contributes much more than non-life.
There is a shift in premiums from health membership organizations to specialized health companies due to changes in innovation, competitiveness, and transfer of policies. This partly explains a significant decline in the former compared to the latter, and also as a result of the exit of one HMO, i.e. IML, and loss of some clients to the health insurers due to an increase in premium at renewal arising from the previous poor loss experience.
When an insurance company stops underwriting business, they have to continue doing business on a run-off basis. That means they don't renew their policies, they don't take up new policies, but they continue servicing the existing policies. Now what happens is the old policyholders will of course migrate to other insurance companies, and this is what the CEO elaborated. He said the reason why the HMO business reduced is because IML stopped and some of those policies were transferred to other conventional insurance companies and also other HMOs. We have two other HMOs, that's AAR and Case Medical. So it's just the impact of, it's just that basically. But this is being managed going forward. Of course, there are certain issues that we are discussing with IML to ensure that all the policy claimants are paid.
Uganda's agriculture insurance scheme provided coverage to 316,496 farmers in 2022, generating 11.4 billion Ugandan shillings in premiums. The scheme paid out 8.75 billion in claims to compensate for losses suffered by insured farmers. Since its inception, a total of 32.6 billion shillings has been paid in claims, demonstrating the scheme's commitment to supporting farmers. During a conversation with a farmer regarding the insurance penetration, it was revealed that the percentage of insurance coverage in the field remains extremely low.
Who are well known, who have established area, those who have big farms, they are the ones who are benefiting from this. But remember, a farmer starts from with even that one that has 1 acre from down in the village there. So most of those farmers, they don't know what is going on, what the government is bringing, all these other agencies that are bringing on board.
Of the ripple effect, the contagion effect, but most importantly, the value proposition that the different players are making in as far as medical is concerned. The third aspect of life is the income bit. There has been arguments, though no consensus, about Uganda being in the middle income category, but the fact is that people's incomes have on average gone up. We have people earning 5 million shillings, the number has gone up. 1 million and above, the number has gone up. And studies show a very strong positive correlation between the levels of income and the uptake of life insurance. It is not therefore surprising that we've seen a lot of traction in the individual life category. You asked how many people are picking money from their pockets. Actually, the number is growing faster because of the increase in the income levels.
In 2022, insurance coverage extended to a total of 2,475,657, encompassing both individuals and corporate entities. This uptake represents 5.4% of the estimated population of 45.5 million by Uganda Bureau of Statistics. Insurance penetration witnessed a slight improvement, rising by 0.08% from 0.796% in 2021 to 0.876% in 2022. However, the growth of the insurance penetration continues to be hampered by the lingering impact of the double rebasing of the national GDP over the past decade. Now, in a proactive move to promote the marketing industry and identify untapped opportunities within the African Continental Free Trade Zone area, African Marketing Confederation has convened agreement with marketing firms to exploit Africa's $3.4 trillion valued economy. Practical tools, networking opportunities, and other market insights are all key in these considerations. We have more of this report.
Africa's Agenda 2063 is one of the major transformational benchmarks with streamlined socio-economic policies for various African states, as over 1.3 billion people propose opportunity for the growing industries and services. As the African Marketing Confederation undertakes engagement of various firms, the untapped potential of Africa's vast market is at the core of discussion, extending valuable insights and tools to explore new business opportunities.
And tapping into a market that is constantly growing. They keep saying Africa is the future. So it's nice to see that the topic that we have for AMC is tapping into that market that we have as Africans, as opposed to going outside for better opportunities.
David Bali Kudembe, president of the Uganda Marketers Society, expresses just how rich the development is for Ugandan marketers as the country repositions itself as a destination for marketing excellence and foster international collaborations and partnerships.
We know that so many steps have been taken towards actualization of this, and we hope to host either the Secretary General or someone from the Secretariat to update us on what is the latest in this on this agenda in terms of opening up boundaries, and that is part of the thinking that informed the topic, the $3.4 trillion or the close to 1.4 billion Africans as a market. How do we open up and remove some of these barriers between SADC, East African Community, COMESA, ECOWAS, and the others to trade as one bloc?
African governments and private sector entities have placed great emphasis on information and communications technology, enough to foster a supportive ecosystem for innovation and accelerate development as marketing capabilities are enhanced.
Around in terms of what needs to be done to increase digital inclusion for the whole of Uganda, challenges around infrastructure that have been promised and not delivered, challenges around electricity that we need to power the gadgets that that are required to extend digital inclusions beyond Kampala, and those are the challenge. Those are the things that we are going to be discussing.
Opportunity with eWest is around 3 areas. I'm sure the first laptop or the first mobile phone that most people have held wasn't brand new, and that's just going to speak to one man's trash might be one man's gold. That has a lot of potential for job creation. The number of people who now have jobs because they're repairing mobile phones, mobile laptops, TV screens. So there's a huge opportunity in being able to take this waste and be able to productively reconstruct it to make, to repurpose. The very building we're in was transformed because its original purpose had outlived its commercial value. So the e-waste is really an opportunity for us to repurpose, get jobs for people who were not able to get jobs before or whose original education was not sustainable anymore.
As Africa continues to experience substantial growth in industries such as extractives, services and agriculture, marketers are expected to play a pivotal role in connecting a bigger grid for businesses with the continent's diverse consumer base. Technology is strategically being banked on to support the drive. Naomi Mtumba, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, that leaves us a short break, but we still have more in stock. Stick around.
Smart 24, driving business.
Cooking oil like no other makes your meal so sweet and scrumptious. The taste of Uganda, yeah, the taste of Uganda.
Family. He must have a maid because at our home we do not work.
Conductor Masao.
What? Over dollar kusimu.
Ye munange anti yo TV enkolera.
Nyumira omulembe omupya ogujjudde ebisanyusa omuli emikutu gya TV egisukka mu 8 n'egya radio nga kw'otadde ne zifirimu ng'osinziirira wonna w'oli. Genda mu App Store oteeke app ya GOTV channels ku simu yo olwo onyumirwe ennaku 3 ng'olabira bwereere ewatali kozesa data.
GOTV channels. Luxury redefined at Seasan Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy, exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at Seasan Hotel. So visit today at plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasan Hotels, luxury redefined.
Life I put myself in and things going wrong with me.
They will delve into a gripping and eye-opening story that sheds light on the life of street children here in Kampala. These street children possess a resilience that challenges our assumptions.
Normally come here in the bus terminals. We see them coming to the bus terminal at around 8 to midnight, bringing things, sending to their people in Karamoja, Kapong, Kotido. But for them, they don't use the buses.
Don't miss this thought-proving journey. Tune in and let's unravel the truth together.
Smart 24, driving business.
Many thanks to you still tuned in to Smart 24 TV. This is Business Today. And moving on, there are several electrical losses involved in traditional methods of power generation, transmission and distribution across large and long distances. It's because of that the government and other stakeholders have come together to enhance the potential of mini-grids in order to transform the country's energy landscape, paving way for economic growth.
As a country blessed with abundant natural resources, Uganda still grapples with a significant energy crisis, with only 19% of the population currently connected to the main grid. Many communities, especially in remote areas, are still living without electricity, a major challenge due to lack of financing in main grid projects. Despite immense potential of main grids to provide reliable electricity to off-grid communities, their adoption has been limited due to finances.
It's just like other forms of renewable energy, receive support, but because of the nature of the business of a mini grid, unlike what you call utility, the one that you connect to the grid and you have a specified tariff, the business of mini grid is slightly different. So the investors, first of all, have that phobia in investing in mini grids because it doesn't provide a direct and obvious business case. But also global at the bigger level, the promises of renewable energy investment from the global community, very little comes to Africa.
In terms of mini grids, it is still a bit of a nascent industry here in Uganda. I think when it comes to tariff setting, there still are a little bit of a need for better understanding on how this is done. And this is one of the key targets or goal that we're hoping to.
With mini grids, especially hybrid mini grid systems, the reliability of power supply to unserved and underserved areas is greater when compared to the current national grid. With mini grid systems, there is a guarantee of the availability of power when one resource is unavailable. Hope lies in collaborative efforts of government and other stakeholders to boost mini grids and expand access to electricity. By expanding these networks, the country can unlock vast economic potential.
Access to electricity, so you're looking at your simple case of salons, small shops that can have refrigeration. You have your welders that need access to power to do fabrications. Now that creates business opportunities for the local people that are within the mini grid area. That in turn also generates revenue and also leads to the socio-economic development in turn.
Increase viability of mini grid. Yes, so we're hoping that this is just the start of the conversation and that this is something that both the government and the private sector could continue to elaborate and to think about the best way to bring in economic development.
And we have quite high emphasis on local developers to ensure that our own local companies really participate equally in development of these mini grids. And we think by that we'll be able to have the development that we desire as a country, but also bridge the energy access gap, because currently only 19% of the country have access to the grid.
Mini grid systems can scale up the delivery of affordable, dependable electricity, promote greater living standards, productivity development, and economic transformation. This is what is required to end energy poverty and increase access to energy in Uganda. Bronya Katsime, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Now, away from that, government has introduced various programs to empower and assist senior citizens in the nation. Two notable initiatives, the monthly 25,000 shillings allowance and the 5 billion shilling special grant for elder persons, have been making a significant impact on the lives of the elderly citizens. Naomi Mutumba reports.
Since the implementation of the monthly 25,000 Ugandan shillings allowance, over 5.4 million elderly Ugandans have been receiving this support. This monthly stipend serves as a lifeline for many seniors who rely on it to cover their basic needs, such as food, health care, and other essential expenses. The direct infusion of funds into the hands of the elderly not only enhances their overall well-being, but also stimulates local economies through increased consumer spending.
Government gives them a stipend of 25,000 every month to ensure at least they can get their necessities and at least have a touch of money in their pockets. Number two, the government has also looked at the elders from 60 to 79, and there is a program that has just started this financial year known as SEGO. SEGO is Special Enterprise Fund for Older Persons, where they are in groups of up to 10 and they are given a maximum of 5 million as a group. And so far, we are having a coverage in the country of 5.4 million.
According to Uganda Bureau of Statistics, the overall unemployment rate in the country stands at 12%. As a result, The unemployment rate among the elderly stands at a concerning 30%. This statistic highlights the need for targeted support and programs to empower this demographic, enabling them to actively contribute to the country's socio-economic transformation.
The jobs are a big problem, and the young people feel the older people should be a solution to their jobs, and they feel that they must be facilitated, and the issues and the property that the older people have is basically the land. So the land gets a lot of abuses.
Government has prioritized the development and welfare of both the youth and the elderly. Recognizing their immense potential and the need for targeted support, 2 programs, Emyoga and the Parish Development Model, have been implemented to provide assistance and opportunities to this segment of the population. So far, over 400,000 youth countrywide have been impacted through Emyoga, and recent data reveals that the Parish Development Model has reached over 1,500 parishes, positively impacting the lives of approximately 1.8 million Ugandans.
In the Parish Development Model, we also want to gauge the elders. They have been given a 10% of 5 trillion in 5 years, which is 500 billion. We want these elders at parish level, 10 of them, they have their 10 million out of the 100 million per parish to participate in the socio-economic development and get into these enterprises, and they also have a feel that when you get the money, you have to pay back, and the government is giving it 24 months. We feel a combination of this should have an impact on our older persons.
It's at a pilot phase. Initially, actually, the money was supposed to be 10 million as was announced, but what was disbursed was, 10 billion. What was disbursed was 5 billion. So we don't want to wait. For us, we worked ahead of time. We went to the field, looked for these people, verified them, put together the documentation, helped them to identify themselves and constitute their groups. And so the stage where we are is to pilot and give out what we have for now.
As the nation continues to navigate its path towards progress, it is crucial to recognize and support the valuable contributions of elderly citizens. Through these initiatives, government is improving the lives of Uganda's senior population, which is fueling economic growth with agriculture at the forefront. Naomi Mtumba, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
And now we've come to the end of Business Today. Thank you for being such a good audience. I'm Ronnah Nahabwe together with Winnie and Nakawuki on the sign language interpretation. Before we kick it off, before we round off, here's a quick look at what made the top stories. In Business Today, the Ministry of Trade develops an online trade information portal that will give exporters access to trade information. The fails to give accountability for the money collected in outdoor adverts. And Uganda's insurance penetration grows to 0.876% in 2022. That's pretty much it what we had for you today on Business Today. Thank you for being such a good audience. I'm Ronnah Nahabwe with Winnie and Nakawuki on the sign language interpretation. You have a good evening.
Smart 24, driving business.